You know what's worse than being called greedy? Watching your mother hide her hunger so that you can eat. Some wounds never heal, they become the reason you refuse to stay poor. That kind of pain changes a person forever. It follows you into adulthood and whispers in every quiet moment. And suddenly, survival becomes more than a goal, it becomes an obsession. People say greed is evil. But they rarely ask what created the hunger in the first place. Judgment is easy when you've never tasted desperation. Poverty creates a fear that few people understand. It forces you to think about tomorrow while struggling to survive today. And sometimes, that fear becomes stronger than comfort. I didn't become obsessed with money because I loved luxury. I became obsessed because I knew what it felt like to have nothing. When you've suffered enough, security becomes priceless. I became obsessed because I hated suffering. I hated seeing problems that money could have solved. And I hated feeling powerless while life kept demanding more. I remember sleeping hungry. I remember pretending I was okay when I wasn't. Some memories stay alive long after the pain is gone. And I promised myself, never again. Not because I was special, but because I was tired. Tired of surviving when I wanted to live. That promise became dangerous. Because once your pain becomes fuel, you stop settling for excuses. You begin chasing change with relentless intensity. Once pain becomes motivation, everything changes. Your struggles stop being chains and start becoming engines. And every setback becomes another reason to keep moving. You stop caring what people call you. Because names don't pay bills or change your future. Results become louder than opinions. They called me greedy because I worked non-stop. But they never saw the fear that kept me awake. Sometimes discipline is simply fear wearing a suit. They slept peacefully while I feared poverty every night. I knew how quickly life could fall apart. And that fear pushed me harder than motivation ever could. Fear can either destroy you. It can trap you in doubt and paralysis. Or it can become the fire that transforms your life. Fear built something unstoppable inside me. It taught me that comfort rarely creates greatness. Pressure often reveals the strongest version of yourself. My greed made me disciplined. While others waited for inspiration, I relied on consistency. Success rewards the person who shows up every day. My greed forced me to learn. Because ignorance is expensive when you're trying to escape poverty. Knowledge became one of my most valuable investments. My greed taught me sacrifice. Every dream demands a price before it rewards you. And I chose temporary discomfort over permanent regret. My greed taught me focus. Distractions became less attractive when my future was at stake. A clear vision makes unnecessary things easier to ignore. While others wasted years chasing pleasure, I was quietly building a different future. Sometimes growth looks boring before it looks successful. I was building my escape plan. Brick by brick. Habit by habit. Decision by decision. Because freedom is rarely found by accident. You see, poverty is not just a lack of money. It is the weight of limitations you never asked for. It is having dreams but lacking the tools to pursue them. Poverty steals dignity. It makes capable people question their worth. And it forces many to accept less than they deserve. It steals confidence. The world begins to tell you what you cannot do. And eventually, you start believing it. It even steals your voice. You stop speaking because nobody seems to listen. And silence slowly becomes your prison. So yes, I became hungry for success. Not because I wanted applause, but because I wanted options. And that hunger saved my life. It gave me direction when confusion surrounded me. It turned survival into purpose. Today, people only see the money. They see the destination but ignore the journey. Success often hides the scars that created it. They never saw the nights I cried silently. The moments when giving up felt easier than continuing. The battles nobody applauds are often the hardest. They never saw the fear. The panic. The sleepless nights spent calculating impossible solutions. The moments when hope felt dangerously fragile. They never saw the shame of being broke. The embarrassment of needing help when pride wanted independence. Some lessons humble you before they strengthen you. So when opportunity finally appeared, I recognized it because I had been preparing for years. Preparation often creates what people call luck. And I chased it with everything inside me. Because opportunities don't wait forever. And regret lasts longer than hard work. Not because I worshipped money. Money was never the real goal. It was simply the vehicle to something greater. I worshipped freedom. The freedom to choose. The freedom to provide. The freedom to breathe without fear. The freedom poverty had denied me for years. My greed wasn't about showing off. It wasn't about proving anything to strangers. It was about protecting the people I love. It was about never begging again. Never placing my future in someone else's hands. Self-reliance became my definition of success. It was about never sleeping afraid again. Never wondering if tomorrow would break me. Because peace is more valuable than possessions. And it was about never watching my family suffer again. Because success means little if the people you love still struggle. Real wealth creates security for more than one person. So maybe greed is dangerous. Unchecked, it can consume everything in its path. But not every hunger comes from selfishness. Sometimes what people call greed is actually survival speaking. It is pain refusing to repeat itself. It is a wounded heart searching for safety. A broken past trying to build a better future. And maybe that's why some of us refuse to stop hustling. Because we remember what it felt like to have nothing. And memory can be a powerful motivator.